we get to look at Brian's legs.
The microphones are on. We're going to start the meeting.
Not much to see there.
7 o'clock. I'm going to call the meeting to order, please. If we could please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. Thank you all. I'm going to open the floor for public comment. I do not see any public comment. I'll close the floor at this time. The PTO report.
They entice you to stay.
And I do not see a Ms. Bird here. The approval of the minutes. I need a motion to approve the following Board of Education meeting minutes, regular meeting June 18, 2024.
So moved.
Second.
Leslie and Eric. All those in favor? Great, that's unanimous. Okay, Superintendent's report, Dr. Parlato.
Thank you. So briefly, I'll say that summer provides us with wonderful opportunities to not only plan, but to do some facilities projects that we'll hear about. And so not only is it a time for our staff to rejuvenate and relax a little bit, but it's also a wonderful planning time, and we can't wait to share the plans we have for the next school year.
Thank you, thank you. Subcommittee reports.
Melissa has nothing really to report. We didn't have a meeting this month.
Okay, and Committee on Learning.
So for COL, we will reconvene on October 6th. I'm sorry, August 6th.
And Facilities.
Same.
Okay,
Same drops.
great. Okay, and we'll see all this information brought forward in August. Board Chairman's report. Yes, it's summer, but there's a lot that goes on in this district over the summer. So we're excited about the projects moving forward. I'd like to thank the community on behalf of the entire Board of Education for the budget support. It allows us through the summer to work through our initiatives and hire and really get our district up and running. So it's very much appreciated. And we did have a board goal meeting here this evening, and we're excited about presenting that to the community to make everyone part of the process. So thank you, board members. Negotiations continue, and obviously we'll bring you that information as we go forward. All righty, budget, monthly reports. Okay, I'm going to put a motion on the table. I'll need a motion to approve the budget position dated June 30th, 2024, the purchase resolution D-784, and a request for budget transfers.
Second.
Tammy and Brian, so a couple questions. Anthony, thank you. Did you want to cover a few things on this, or is this the closeout?
Just very briefly,
Thank you.
the budget position shows balances as of June 30th.
Thank you.
There is still rollout, which occurs in the month of July.
Right.
By rollout, I mean receiving and processing of bills received after 6/30, but that applies to the 23-24 year. Period 13, our ability to process payments in 23-24 closes when the town finance director closes what we call period 13 in Munis. That is slated to take place approximately July 22nd, this coming Monday. Nothing that's in this report on the budget position changes anything that was already communicated last month on our projected year-end balance.
Great. Any questions on that? Thank you. All those in favor? Okay, thank you for that. And then we're going to move on to the bid award, please. I'll need a motion to approve the bid award RFP E2324009. This substitute. Okay,
Oh, we're moving fast.
that's okay. We some nights are extremely long. So we have Dean was the main, and Brian, I believe, second. Is that correct?
What's that?
It was me.
Okay, Tom. So Dean and Tom, please. You have the memo in front of you. Do we have questions on this? Anyone want to? Go ahead.
Just, you know, we brought ESS in a long time ago, probably about my second or third year on the board, and so we've been using them for a while. And is it more effective than when we were using them, than before we were using them, as far as sub rate, how many subs we get in?
Absolutely. So, you know, as you could imagine filling subs is really difficult.
Right.
It's difficult in any year. It's extremely difficult in a tough hiring season. But they're able to do things like offer incentives to come in on days that are harder to get folks in. They offer an employee referrals bonus to their folks to get more people in. We do, because they are here in-house, we have a dedicated rep that stays in New Milford and sits with Jeff's group downstairs. So I do feel as if it's a very good partnership.
The reason why I asked that question is we looked at their increasing the rate, but I personally, for your guys' sake, I think it's worth it.
Are you asking about the fill rate, Brian?
And the fill rate, I
fill
was
rate.
also asking about that.
Yes. So I think, I haven't heard complaints about the fill rate.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah, it's always, as I said, it's always hard to get subs, so, could we say, would I love to say there's a 100% fill rate? Yes. Are we ever gonna be able to say there's a 100% fill rate? No. I do think they do a lot of things that we couldn't do on our own, to get substitutes. We have, over 100 substitutes on any given day, in the schools, and I think that, oftentimes we move them around, they come in, sometimes they come in, fill a para position, and they might fill a teacher position. Sometimes they're long-term subs that have worked with us for a really long time, and they're retired teachers who just want to have the flexibility of working through ESS. So I do believe that if we didn't have them, it would be a whole other position in terms of someone in my group trying to handle just substitutes. I know in other districts that don't have a sub service, they do have one person dedicated to just filling substitute positions each day.
Thank you.
And that's a real financial component right there. And that's one of the reasons why we began with this, is because when we took a look at the fill rate, the dollar amount versus what is being provided for the differential in the service, we could easily quantify that it was still a savings and a lot less administrative burden on the district to do other things. Is that fair?
Yeah, if I could, a little historical on this, it was probably about 2016, as Mr. McCauley, recognizes when we, as a district, were looking at increasing that fill rate, and whether it be bringing in an outside source or just continuing to keep it in-house and just paying the differential more. And in the end, it ended up being a two-pronged approach that really helped. So the first time we went out to bid for this, it was ESS, who then at that time was Source for Teachers. It was a 3-year contract. We posted an RFP after that. They were awarded a 3-year contract, which we did a 1-year extension. That 1-year extension is now lapsed. Just because we have a good working relationship with ESS doesn't mean that we still need to follow purchasing policy, post this out for bid,
Right.
and see what else is out there. See if the current incumbent vendor we're using has built-in pricing along the way that might not be market value. So we posted this RFP for services to start this coming year, as the current contract is expired and there's no option for another extension in the current contract. And at this point in time, there were 2 vendors who submitted bids by the timeline. There's criterion here that they're evaluated based off of between myself and Director of Human Resources, Terry Kavanaugh. Thank her for help in helping develop part of the scope and the weighting process to go through, because a lot of times it's not only price that is the determining factor in whether we're going to award or recommend to the board whether they would award a bid. So there was a matrix here and a scoring system which both vendors went through.
We share that. Tammy?
I only have one negative to say about ESS, because I do think they do a great job. I think one of the biggest problems is bringing on people to substitute because of the financial output that that person has to put out before they start. It's over $100, but other districts do not charge that. So I don't know why it's so different than some other districts, but if you have people who are willing to work for $16 an hour, but they have to pay a full day's wage in order to get their paperwork done, that is really problematic for some people. So I want us to keep that in mind, because I'm not sure why other districts, and I could talk offline about this, but how other districts, it costs nearly nothing, but it costs over $100 to get it done through New Milford. That's a problem.
Other districts using the same service?
No, other districts doing it in-house.
Oh, sure.
Oh, that's what I wanted to clarify. You see where I'm going? That's, yeah.
So it's like, what, so why,
Yeah.
why is it that a school that manages their own pays $20, but we, in our district, if somebody wants to start it, they pay like 110, 120, I forgot what it is.
Yep.
Okay?
Right, but that's why I wanted to get that question clarified,
Thank you.
because
No.
it's not, it's very important that that is a charge that is not something that, you know, we're doing kind of thing.
And I know that people in the past have complained about it. Like, I would love to be a sub, but I can't shell out $110 right now. That's number one. Number two, am I to understand that we're increasing the rate for all subs across the board?
Yes.
There's a little percentage that everybody's getting. Okay,
And the service.
that helps.
Thank you. Any other questions on this? All those in favor? That's unanimous. Thank you very much. Next, that's really the action items. Now we're going to go into just the conversations on a few topics. The enrollment report. Dr. Parlato?
Yes, so in July, it's, it's not necessarily the best measure because we end up with a lot of enrollments in the summer, particularly in kindergarten. But you can see where we are. And so between the projected and the actual variance, but it's very, very volatile in the summer.
Right, especially in August.
Yes.
Okay, we're going to go through some of the capital, which is the,
Employment report also, I think.
oh, employment. Sorry, so sorry. Yes.
So we're doing really well. We have 3 open positions at this time, 2 at the high school, math and science, and 1 at Saranoga, which is a we have been doing interviews. I have, Dr. Parlato is meeting with people like that. She's awesome. So we do have 2 outstanding offers on 2 of those 3 positions. So we're in really good shape.
In what positions?
We have 1 math at the high school, 1 science at the high school, and 1 PE teacher here at Saranoga.
How are we
We have
doing?
offers in all those.
Oh, we do.
We have offers for all those.
How are we doing with world
Teacher, I
language?
don't.
How are we doing with world language? Because that's increasingly becoming problematic across everywhere.
We are,
We're stable.
yes, we are stable with world language.
So, as I mentioned, we're moving along nicely, which is really great.
We are doing.
For the second week of July. So I want to put that on the record too.
We've got a whole
Okay.
Big letters.
In big letters, because, a month can make a world of difference in a district of large openings, unknown budgets. So it's nice to see. Thank you.
Question on world language, does that mean we were able to restore Saranoga? We were not.
Scotticoke.
Scotticoke,
Yes.
sorry,
Yep.
sorry, Ellie's
So we're moving forward with those different
Right.
with the humanities.
versus electives.
Yes,
program.
correct. Yep.
So Dr. Parlato, you said it's hard to tell by these numbers right now because it's too early?
Yes, yes. You would be surprised how many enrollments you get in the summer. The best, if you look at September 1st is okay. That's why the state looks at October 1st.
Right.
The state's snapshot officially
Is
for
October.
every school district in the state is October 1st. It kind of settles down by then.
There's a lot of last-minute movement
Yep.
at the beginning of the school year, and those numbers can change up or down, school to school. So, all righty. The New Milford High School update. We don't have, is Cunningham here?
No, but we can, between Mr. O'Brien and myself, we can.
And the mayor's sitting right
Mayor's
here.
here, yep.
We've got it all covered. I think the board knows that I had sent out communication that we're beginning the project. I believe yesterday, perhaps?
They started it yesterday, contractor, with the, over the works. And then you end to peel off panels piece by piece.
Right.
And take pictures as soon as they lift the panel, they're gonna take a picture. If they needed any clips, they'll install them and then take a picture after and then replace the actual panel. And then it's a tedious process, but they're starting that process now.
I'll open up to anyone. I know that Go ahead,
You
Tom.
know, I just say I was at the NBC meeting on Thursday night, and I was impressed with the plan. It sounds like everybody's gotten together and really worked out a plan for something that, you know, we were afraid would be much more difficult to do. So, quick question for the mayor: how much have they gotten done so far in two days' work?
I think, let me pull it up here real quick. I just got it while we were in our other meeting.
It's 2 days.
Because the first couple of days are really really going to be the test.
But to that point, Tom, we already know, or we think, that one of the advantages of beginning this in the summer is to lessen the impact further into the school year as possible. So
Absolutely.
we're really happy about that.
So they did 8 panels today, second day. That's
Really, eight panels pulled off, refastened, complete. That's very encouraging.
Great.
About how many panels are we talking? How many panels total? Do you have an
I
idea?
don't-
No.
Okay, so, okay.
It's about 40.
It's 40% of the
And so it's only, they're only doing the 40%.
yes.
But they are expecting 100 days, so it will go into the school year. But
I agree with you. The plan is comprehensive. It's very detailed. It's documented. We've tried to get out in front of this message to the entire community that this is what we're doing. We'll continue to do that and keep the board and the community updated.
And Matthew, if I could, Madam Chair, Matt Cunningham, Facilities Director for the Board of Ed, and Principal Menka are apprised every day. They sat down when we first started where we were going to start the process, asked them where they should begin to start the process to make sure that it's less impactful for what needs to be done, and they continue to work with them on a daily basis.
Any other comments on that? So that's the update there. So that's great news, and we'll just keep rolling along there. We've already discussed the wood shop, and I believe the gym floor might shift over out.
It's getting there.
Yes.
It's so exciting. I
It is
can't
very
wait to show it to
exciting.
everyone.
It
Yes.
is.
Yes.
So
I'd
we'll-
say it's probably 75% ready.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
So back to the point of a lot that we do over the summer. It's, you know, it never stops. So thank you very much. The Sarah Noble oil tank, I believe, is
Out of the ground.
out of the ground.
That's the word I got, is it's, was there a going-away party for the oil tank?
There wasn't, but
I was going to
we make a little shrine over
I
there.
wasn't invited to
That's
any.
what Dr. Parlato said there might be a,
Yes.
Hey.
It's still early. We're gonna do the roof combo with the oil tank. It's gonna be great. So.
And some of these issues you'll see repetitively on the board, you know, central office. We know that once we get past through some of these hurdles, that conversation, fair enough, is still on the table, Mayor. You probably run from me when I go central office, but we have not lost sight of that. But we're working through these other things and we'll keep forging away on that. The HVAC reports and grants,
They're, go ahead.
if there's any new
There's
information.
not new information, but they're doing the evaluations as we speak, so. And that's another good summertime project when there aren't students around.
okay. And were there gifts and donations?
Not.
I didn't think so, thank you. And then the food service community eligibility provision, let's talk about this. Okay, Dr. Parlato, would you like to
Sure.
address this?
I'm gonna turn it over to Mr. Giovanoni to start, and then I'll chime in as well.
Yeah, I have a couple questions. Go ahead.
The memo pretty much covers it all. I'll give a quick
Right.
overview. New Milford Public Schools was approved to use our own local funds in our food service balance to extend free meals through 23, 24, through the end of the year. When we did that, we brought that to the board and said there was also another alternative program through the state, which is the community eligibility provision. We changed a little way, several ways we do our claim each month. And while we weren't applying for that for 23, 24, we were going to look into it for 24, 25. So this memo here just captures the notes that myself and Superintendent Parlato gathered from our meetings with Sandra Sullivan, the Food Services Director, where we were at in that process. When that application is approved, we expect that it would be approved. The state was actually encouraging us to apply. When we get the approval of that, we will do notifications to families and staff if there'll be zero-cost options for students in 24-25, but that is the goal.
But to be clear, we've already addressed some of this recently at the board for
For 23.
exactly. And now we have an opportunity to continue it based on
We applied.
reapply.
We applied, yep.
Okay, so if we are accepted, because we're favorable in that account, is that correct?
Also, we have over 25% free and reduced lunch.
Always, yep. And because the formula works, the state will allow us most likely to do this. And so the thought process is because we're favorable in this account, it's a self-sustaining account, to be clear for the board. It does not come out of the operational budget, so to speak. So we're afforded the opportunity to extend that and those savings to the families.
Yes, to be clear, we use local food service funds for the end of 23-24. This program participation would not be using local funds. It would be using state funds to allow us to reconfigure our reimbursement to provide no-cost meals. It's not going to deplete our food service balance at all.
So it leaves the
all
food.
students.
Exactly, yes, that's the
But
test.
so the finance piece, it leaves the food service fund as is. So this is a reimbursement mechanism?
Yes, the CEP for 24-25 that we are pursuing, which is different than what we did at the end of.
That's my point. That's exactly why I brought it up, because what we did recently was very different than a reimbursement system.
What we did recently was we used local funds in the
That's
food
it.
service self-sustaining fund to spend those down, and part of that put us in, spending those funds down towards that, put us what I think is in a favorable position to qualify for the CEP going forward. It showed initiative, local reinvestment, and allows us the opportunity to apply for this grant in a favorable position.
So it's really the reduction in the cost offset is really through the grant.
Correct.
It is not through local funds, even if it's self-sustaining. I want to be clear on that. Did I get it?
That is absolutely.
Okay, so just to run through it again for the board, and that's why I'm sorry, Anthony, because it can be a little confusing. The last time that we handled this initiative, we took our self-sustaining account fund and took a portion of money out of that account. Fair enough? That moved us into a position to apply for this grant, in which the state said with the formula of your percentage, and drawing that account down allows us to apply and do this.
Absolutely correct.
And it is reimbursable by the state.
For all students, and all students.
So that's the finance piece, now that I have that on the table, to be clear, thank you, because I didn't want that. But it's exciting that we're allowed to offer this to our families, because we've had conversations here at the board. Mayor, you've asked me about how we reach out to families. We've had conversations about how we can try and cover as much as we can. So this is this was a well thought out plan, and I'm glad that I look forward to this actually happening.
Quick question, when you said we drew the account down, what exactly do we mean by how we drew the account down?
We spent out of that
account.
out of that fund, a food service portion,
Self-sustaining, yeah.
which is separate. If you have our operational budget, you have a separate area for food service.
Its own
Okay?
bucket.
It has its own money, it raises its own money, it has its own capital, and it's outside of the operational budget. It was favorable enough that towards the end of the year, is that fair, Anthony, that the board decided that we would go ahead and continue that relief to families in need.
Yeah, we have to.
And the state allowed us to do this.
Spent it down that way.
We spent it down that way. Now, we took that because now this opportunity comes in, says, okay, you're at 25%. There's a program that we're going to provide you grant money to reimburse this type of procedure. So in all fairness, it's zero impact to the taxpayer. And it's maximizing 2 years in a row of family need. Is that fair to say?
Family need
yeah.
is the key piece,
I
absolutely.
get it, I just didn't understand how we drew it down, I'm like, okay, we just move money's over. Okay.
Yeah, no.
We
You
extended.
have to buy the food and buy the.
Yeah, I remember we extended it to all students, all families.
So hopefully when this goes through, we'll get the message out.
Oh, yes,
And get it in
for
front of the
sure.
message, you know.
Once we get approved. I don't know. Did they give us a timeline, Nancy? I don't think so.
I don't believe so, but the expectation is by the end of July.
For sure.
Oh, that's
yeah.
good, before school starts,
yeah.
obviously, so parents, families can know, okay.
All students,
One past question.
Students.
all students. So I think that's really important.
This is an annual grant then that we can continue to apply for and
Yes.
extend the free lunch beyond just this.
As long as we meet the conditions of having X number of dollars in our account and that we're over 25% free and reduced lunch. Both
And,
of those conditions have to be true.
and the requirements don't change in any way. you know,
Yes,
so-
well, yeah, right.
But to reach all of our families, all of our students, I think is exceptional. And so I think that we're moving in the right direction.
Just a quick question, Dr. Provetto. What is our percentage in our school for free and reduced?
So at the end of 23-24, it was about 34%. Yep, I think that we're gonna see a little bump.
I think so too.
Yeah, for
Right.
24-25 wouldn't surprise me if we're closer to 40.
And this is so needed.
How do they capture free and reduced when everybody's getting it for free?
So now there's a direct connection between if you apply for food stamps as a family, it talks
Okay.
to that computer.
That's good, because a
Yep,
lot of
so
people
it's
weren't
it's
filling
called
out
a
that
direct
paperwork.
certification.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, good, because you want to capture that.
So there's no motion on this. This is exciting.
it's
We've been
good.
following this, but I would urge the district, as we always do, there's nothing, to me, that's more sad than not taking it, not recognizing some of the, what this town and this community has to offer. So we want to get in front of this message and make it clear to everyone that this is how we're going, should it happen.
Yeah, I would say that for us to use our funds like we did at the end of this past school year and to be able to do this, not many school districts can do
I
it.
was just going to ask how many
That's a
were,
big
right?
deal. They didn't tell us the exact number. I'm sure they would if we asked, but it is a rare school district that is able to manage itself so well that we meet those criteria.
Well, I have another opinion, I'll be very brief. I do think that the entire food service account was, for me personally, I think we struggled with that in jeopardy during COVID. And there was a real concern that that account was going to be almost bankrupt. We were really concerned. We went to the town, we went to the mayor, and in 5 minutes before the board meeting, we put our heads together and said, let's make sure that we keep this fund healthy. 3 years later, you're seeing a result to the community, 2 years in a row, because we did that. So that's collaboration. I remember calling you on that. So, we've done a good job with this. Okay, that's it. Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Oh, my
Everyone,
gosh.